this will be the first real video, and a bit of an introduction and explanation of things.
Master Zelox.
Read, understand, and hope you enjoy. This is a non-eventful ramblings video, which just means chatting with very little in the way of editing about a particular topic. There will also be the following different types of videos: art and general nonsense. This video will mostly be discussing artworks either created for merchandise, created for fun, or given as fan art. Critical analysis. These videos will each be on a particular subject, with a decent amount of research and having everything that is said being backed up by evidence. Examining theoretical concepts. This is all about doing thought experiments. Interview, discussion, and examining general oddities. I needed to find something that would have the acronym of id and ego. This worked, and it does describe the type of video: an interview, with many questions and back and forth. Definitely want to engage on topics and discuss different concepts and ideas. Now, moving on to the topic of this video, which is me. 10 years ago now, I started to pay a bit more attention to politics and my own position on the political compass. Back then, I was a lot more left-wing. Over the course of the last 10 years, my views have been moving slowly toward the right, to the point where now I'm only slightly left-leaning, and still holding on to those libertarian values, though. And this is part of the issue. The political compass is being used as a definitive answer to something far more complex. It's a very weak and general placement. It's a concept. If you aren't somewhere near the extreme corners, your views could be extremely different from someone placed in almost the same spot as you on that compass. What I most strongly oppose is authoritarian regimes and ideologies. Finding an ideology that pretends to know everyone and everything and what is best for everyone. That is horrible to me. Because you cannot even pretend to know what is best for everyone. Individuals are just that. And pretending that all groups function and think the same and will need particular things is completely flawed in my view. That's part of the reason why I strongly oppose all authoritarian regimes. Now, unfortunately, as I oppose all, this also includes communism. And as soon as you say you oppose communism, well, you get called a Nazi, fascist, white supremacist, and all kinds of names, because you don't support an ideology that will result in yet another set of major purges where all those who do not think right, according to their standards and needs, are removed. What I strongly believe in: freedom of speech, action, expression, movement, association, and other such freedoms. I am an egalitarian, and strongly believe in equality of opportunity, not equality of outcome, because that is an attempt to force an outcome that might not be natural given the situation. I believe that bodily integrity is hugely important for all humans. Males, females, intersex, other genetic disorders. That if something is cosmetic or not life-saving, then it should not be done without the knowledgeable consent of the individual themselves. Genital mutilation, or circumcision, if you want to call it that, is completely inappropriate and causes lifelong negative effects for both females and males. I want all people to be free, and free to choose their own path in life, including being given the opportunity to better themselves. So why would I wear an armband and a hat like this, given all of my views? That is the joke, actually. An ironic and sarcastic joke. To me, the false calls of people who strongly oppose fascism as a fascist just demonstrate that trying to smear an opponent due to something as basic as jokes speaks volumes. You see, it is the perfect example of satire. Now, satire is rather specific. Through literature, graphics, and performing arts, it is used to shame many different groups or even society as a whole into improvement. You see this? This here is an example of parody. Parody of many different ideas and concepts. Putting it on me is a juxtaposition because I strongly oppose all authoritarian regimes and rule. You don't find it funny? That's fine. Laughter isn't an essential component of satire. It is about the need to debunk and ridicule the leading power in society right now. Satire is about exposing problems and contradictions, confronting the public discourse. That is the way things are right now. That someone who openly opposes all authoritarian regimes, including fascism and the Nazi ideology, can still somehow be called a fascist and a Nazi because they oppose other authoritarian regimes. Because they don't want yet more millions dead from a concept that will be forced on everyone in a fiction that it will work this time around, even though it has failed every other time it has been attempted. Look at Daddy Dankula. Look at how he was arrested for a joke. For a joke at the expense of Nazis. For calling Nazis the least cute thing he could think of. For making a joke that is essentially the definition of juxtaposition. The way that the laws are right now, in a lot of Western countries, that you can be arrested for speech, for disagreeing, for jokes, for talking about legitimate problems and issues. That is why I wear this. That is why I'm doing this. That is why this channel and these videos exist. There needs to be more voices speaking truth to power. More done to speak out against this extreme political quagmire that we find ourselves in, and the society to match it. Traditionally, satire, jokes, and any criticism of a political system or society is suppressed under totalitarian rule. That seems to be exactly what's happening right now. I don't want wrong think and wrong speak to be the future where we are headed. That's why I wear this, and that's why I do it as a joke. To poke fun at the establishment. To poke fun at society. And the way that folks interpret things and take things too far and out of context. This right here is the context. I have given it to you. If someone takes it out of context now, thank you. That is the joke. Obviously, if you understand anything about the internet or have been on it for a while, you might be able to tell that I am a part of the furry subculture. Hence all of this. I found it when 12. Still in it now. At this point, I've been a furry the majority of my life. And yes, I don't mind folks taking it as a joke. It is somewhat of a joke. After all, furries are essentially social rejects. And one of the biggest mistakes in my history on the internet would be on LiveJournal. Early into LiveJournal, I noticed that most furries, or a lot of them, seemed to have this one Greek letter as well, as listing furry as their interest. The Greek letter was Z, or Zeta. I found out later that this actually stands for zoophile, and I had added it to my profile as well, thinking it was just shorthand for furry. More recently, I was somewhat forced into a group known as Alt Furry. This is a joke. It's a joke group, and a parody of the alt-right. And for context, I'm not a part of any Alt Furry group or chat anymore. I might use the joke as a joke on occasion, but I am not Alt Furry any longer. To give a brief description, Alt Furry was a hashtag on Twitter, and the QQ declared themselves the leader of it in a bloodless coup. The whole point of the group is a joke. It's to exist as a parody of the alt-right, including parody talking points. It grew and fractured, and several groups formed across several different mediums and discussion platforms. The reason why I say I was somewhat forced into the group was because a relatively well-known furry artist started to call me a Nazi, while also advocating for the death of Nazis. I didn't have a way to defend myself against such false accusations and attacks, and so I ended up finding one of the many alt-furry groups, joined them, and realized that it was one of the few areas left that was a part of the furry subculture that actually allowed freedom of speech and expression. The name Alt Furry and the group is quite clearly a parody and joke about the alt-right, unless you believe the leader when they say, "We must ensure the existence of our species and a future for furry children." Anti-speciesism is code for anti-furry. Species mixing is furry genocide. And if you believe those are legitimate views, then you probably have a pretty flawed understanding of humour and jokes. As it currently stands, I'm no longer a part of Alt Furry, so if I get added to the Alt Furry block list, it'll prove to show that it is purely designed as a means of gathering those who have committed wrongthink, more than anything legitimate. Me being furry doesn't make all of these videos subculture specific. I will be covering a lot of different topics. This whole project is about expression, about speaking truth to power, about analysing different topics fairly and even-handedly. Equality, fairness, justice, truth. These are the core tenets of me, and everything to do with Master Zelox. I did want to make this to spread a bit of reason and logic, and to encourage everyone who sees this to think, and to question, even me. I don't want a cult of personality. I don't want to be always trusted. I want people to follow the evidence and make up their own mind. Disagreements are fine. Disagreements are good. I am not always right. I try my best to say things that are accurate and well-informed, but I do bugger up. I also want to create and provide for the more libertarian and free-thinking community as a whole. Do something interesting and entertaining, artworks that are wearable for everyone. This will need some support to keep it going, through various means: direct monetary support, purchasing merchandise, commenting, engaging, subscribing, sharing links to videos. All of that is a huge assistance right now. Thank you to everyone who has lasted through this ramble.
End of the video. Please consider comment, like, share, subscribe, support, and buy merchandise. Then after considering, do it. Please do it.